Some of the things that I didn't know, and since I have joined, I've been very pleasantly surprised, just the breadth and depth of our publications. So we have over 170 brands. Some of my favorite one, Horse and Hound. We have lots of specialist brands, but more importantly, there are brands that are legacy heritage brands over 100 years old. These are things I don't think you can just quickly replicate. And in today's world, we know a lot of publishers are facing some headwinds, but I believe Future has a whole ton of clay to work with, and I'm personally very excited to see what we can do with this.
Kai, as you mentioned, Future is a storied history, and more in the present has built a strong programmatic business around trusted content and high intent audiences. How does that differentiate you in today's advertising landscape though?
So I think one of the things that makes us different, we talk a lot about our brands as specialist brands. So what does that practically mean? We are able to influence people at the point of decision. So what is an example of that? I am on, say, Kiplinger's, and I'm deciding which mutual funds to invest in. They will come to us at that point of finally making that decision. Similarly, if you are on, let's use Tom's Guide, I want to, real world story for me, what Pixel phone should I buy? They come to us, and again, we influence people at the point of decision. So we could refer to that as high intent audiences, but I think that doesn't exist as broadly in the ecosystem, and that is a huge differentiator for us. So as you can imagine, when we think about things like digital ads, and a lot of that is performance related, we outperform. And that's what has made us, frankly, as big and as successful as we have been.
AI is obviously rapidly changing how advertising is bought and sold. What changes are you seeing in programmatic right now, and where do you think the industry is headed next?
So the big one, everyone, not just in programmatic advertising, it is the influence of AI. And in my time in the industry, probably over the last 15 years, this idea of agentic ad buying and selling, agentic ad marketplaces is one of the biggest things I've seen. What is that, right? We basically use, let's call it the robots, and the robots will execute the process of, in our case, selling our advertising, selling our ad space, and on the buy side, making the buy itself. Radical change. We're still figuring out some of these things, but what does that mean? What is the impact in the long run? How I've been thinking about this from a macro perspective is, when we have agents in the workflow, you remove the benefits of economies of scale. So that's how I've been thinking about that. And when we think about that, we then need to process, well, there are so many intermediaries, there's so many services that benefit from that, but perhaps they don't exist. And where does that lead us? Perhaps that leads us into a case of not dissimilar from the music industry, where you democratize things. That would be fantastic. There is a risk that power consolidates, and hopefully that doesn't happen. But these are some of the most exciting things that I've seen in a very long time, and again, why I'm excited to be at Future, and why I'm very excited to see what happens at the rate we're moving in the next 90 days.
Well, speaking of the next 90 days, and more recently, Kai, I believe Future launched some new commercial products, including a new audience intelligence engine. What opportunities does this engine create for advertisers?
Yes, so as I mentioned, one of the strengths of Future is we are specialist brands. Because we are specialist brands, we help influence people at the point of decision. That sounds great, but practically what does that mean? So we have so many touch points. There's a lot of signal that can be garnered from users whenever they interact with us. You could have a human being doing all of this. This will take forever. So what we have done is we have employed agents who will look at past campaign performance, based on that at an extremely granular level, understand the optimal combination of factors, basically, to help provide advertising performance. So that's one product. We have another product that is focused on, in the world of agentic content, let's call it, how does this look? Everyone's obviously still exploring this, but one thing we have found is the fact that we have authority, the fact that we have heritage, means we are often one of the most cited, if not the most cited, sites in various LLMs. And so we are loaning that authority, we are loaning that to our clients to help them manage their narratives.
So Kai, with all the stuff that you have going on, with all the stuff going on around you. Wanted to get a sense of what you think the future of programmatic looks like, and how is Future, the company,
Yes.
positioning itself to lead in that evolution?
So it's interesting. I've had this conversation with a few people, and if you did not work in our industry and you just zoomed back out, if I was explaining this to my mother, this is just an ad network again. So it's all back to an ad network, but the way the sausage is made is radically different. And I think the outcomes of this will be, since I've been in this industry, there's always questions around, are the ads working, right? And what do I mean by that? Hey, I spent $1, am I making $1.10 on this or not? So I think with this, we can get to a point where the ads will work better than they ever had before. And for a company like Future, everything we've talked about, we have the high intent audiences, we are at the point of decision, we have heritage brands. I think we're really well situated for that.